Hey guys, how are you? So just a quick story before I lead into this video. When I first got started with the Great Game of Business and we rolled it out at our agency, what really drew me to it maybe the most was the idea of this profit share or gain share bonus program that the employees could take advantage of. And if they helped us and helped the company be successful, they can have a stake in the outcome, as they say, and get paid a bonus based on a percentage of their salary, dependent on the profit, the amount of profit that we hit in any given quarter. So I thought that was really exciting. I was excited to roll that out, but I was a little confused and I didn't know how I'd put that into place. It sounded really complicated. Well, luckily for me, I found out that the Great Game of Business has a tool, an Excel sheet that basically helps you calculate a bonus plan above and beyond any threshold you need for the company's financial stability. And then they put it in tiers for you, and it's a pretty cool bonus program that they help you create. So today I decided to ask the master coach that I'm going to shadow. I'm going out to Indianapolis to shadow him in his newest launch of a client and enrolling them into the Great Game of Business. I'm going there next week to shadow him, and then it's the final step in being certified is I have to shadow this person. And so I asked him to come on today and to explain the bonus program and different bonus programs that he's created in the past, and just to talk about bonus plans, gain share, profit bonus programs that he's created for clients. And just a little bit about Kevin Walter. I got this from a couple notes from his bio here, just so that you see that he's qualified. He grew up in Chicago, and he grew up in his family's food business restaurant. And back in '89, it evolved into Tasty Catering. And that business is still thriving today, thanks in large part, he says, to the Great Game of Business. And now he's a principal in several businesses. He lists about half a dozen different businesses that he's a principal owner in. And the successes of these companies have earned him a place in the UIC Chicago Area Entrepreneurial Hall of Fame. And then Tasty Catering, just a few of the awards that business has won, all by being managed with the Great Game of Business and with open book management. It's pretty extensive and pretty amazing how many different awards and achievements this catering company has had. 2010 Achievement in Catering Excellence, ACE Award winner. 2010 Governor's Sustainability Award winner. 2009 Better Business Bureau Torch Award winner for Marketplace Ethics. And 2008 Caterer of the Year, is the go-to caterer for Chicago business. Tasty Catering is winner. 2011 NICE Awards, Best Corporate Event under 25,000, Best Picnic, Best Corporate Event over 75,000, and Best NICE Team Event. The company has also been recognized as a 2010 Exceptional Workplace by Inc. magazine, and winning workplaces at Crane Chicago Business Best Place to Work 2011 and 2010, a Best Place to Work in Illinois for 5 consecutive years, 2011 through 2007, back to 2007, is a Best and Brightest Winning Company 2010 and 2009, and a 2011 Daily Herald's Reader Choice Award for Best Caterer. So needless to say, mostly thanks to the Great Game of Business and running it with the open book management style of management. Without further ado, let's get into Kevin Walter and how to create a bonus program for your employees and for your company.
All right. Well, let's just jump right in. This is Brenda Brenda and I talked, a month ago about this, explaining the gain share template to the clients. And I've done it, 50, 60 times. So we just figured we'd set this up, and then as long as Nick and Terry were shadowing me coming up next week, figured we'd put us all together and do it all at once. So I'm going to take you through. You guys act like you're owners of a business. Feel free to ask any questions at any time, but I'm going to take you through what I typically do with a client. So the first step is define critical numbers. I typically say only one the first year that this kicks off. And I steer heavily towards profit, net profit, profit before tax, EBITDA, whatever that bottom line profit is on your P&L. To me, that's the simplest way to teach business. What makes money and generates cash? How can we save on expenses? What impact does sales increase have? All sorts of the cost of goods sold. To me, it's the simplest, okay? I've had a couple of organizations we just need sales, or our overhead's under control. I hear that all the time. About our overhead is under control. There, I typically tell the story of how our office supplies line owner dropped it from $3,500 a month at $6 million to $2,300 a month at $8.5 million over 3-4 years. 3 years at $1,200 a month, that adds up quickly. A lot of companies just say their overhead's under control. Their overhead, no, it's not. But I don't tell them that straight out. Then we establish the minimum performance. What's our threshold before we start sharing the over? Financial security of the company comes first because we got to keep our jobs. The bonus or the gain share is an added benefit, but we got to maintain our jobs. Then we look at the bonus pool. Is it meaningful? It should be 10 to 20% of total payroll. We'll get to more on that later. And how are we going to distribute it? Percent of salary equals shares by percentage of pool. To me, the simplest one is percent of salary. That way, if you got somebody who's in leadership or what have you, it's making $100,000, they get the same percent as somebody making $40,000 assembling parts on the front line. So it's an equal but unequal based on your job status responsibilities. I've had a couple of marketing companies, that kind of company, go equal shares across the board. Hey, that's okay in certain situations, but how do you determine somebody that comes in the 5th month of the year? Do they get 5/12 or 7/12 of it? Who knows? Determine the payout schedule. Of course, the great game, we like to do it quarterly. In certain circumstances, I've bent on that, mostly construction, because it's so hard with construction accounting to go to semi-annual. I try to steer away from annual at all costs. Okay, that's what people are used to. Companies that I've gone into that have had a bonus, I ask them if they're seasonal. Yeah, we really pick up 4th quarter, and 1st quarter is not the best. And I smile to myself and say, well, do you have an annual bonus? Yes. So this gives you 4 chances to sprint to the finish line. Establish a time for declaring and paying the bonus. It's critical that people know when it's coming, and that can revolve around cash flow. I had an accounting firm whose worst quarter was their 4th quarter, fiscal, and their best quarter was their 1st. So we changed the bonus plan to kick off on April 1, to end on April 1, because that's when they had the most cash coming in from Q1 tax returns. So we kept them on the same fiscal year, but just changed their bonus year to accommodate the cash flow a little better. Then it's up to us as coaches to stress test the plan. Is it good for the employees and the company? Is it reasonable? Is it achievable? Because this whole exercise is stupid to do if it's not reasonable or achievable. But it's got to protect the company as well. Plan documents. I've got probably 12 examples pulled up I can show you later. But that's the who, what, where, when, how, and why the bonus gets paid out. And then we communicate and educate everyone on a plan and their path to achieving their stake in the outcome. That starts at the all-team launch and continues on after that. And we celebrate and recognize the win. Theme it. One of the best celebrations ever was a rural Georgia hospital that was facing cuts and maybe even shutting down the hospital. They started the great game of business, and the first time they paid out bonus. Have you guys seen the video of that?
No.
The CEO, CFO, and COO came in dressed as Blues Brothers with a briefcase chained to the CFO's hand, and they proceeded to do a Blues Brothers skit, and at the end they opened the briefcase and handed out bonus checks. That'll never be forgotten. I steer away from trying to direct deposit things, although nowadays people really prefer that, but have something to hand them when it's bonus time, whether it's a direct deposit voucher or a check or something. Give them something physical. And then we use the plan to execute, follow the action, and keep score. All right, we're moving on to the next page. Any questions in here? Okay, threshold calculator. That's where I skip to next. These numbers up here are just to help you calculate your salaries, your wages. Has nothing to do with what's down here, okay? This company, they want to have $650 profit before tax. Take out the taxes, add back depreciation if that's something that the company typically calculates. Hey, what are we going to invest in next year with our capital? Is there any change in the AR? A lot of times this doesn't have much of a factor unless you're a company growing at maybe 20 or 25% or more, because then accounts receivable will be growing at 20, 25%. Will you have the cash? It's the accounts receivable, accounts payable, that's a calculation there. Change in inventory. Many companies don't calculate this, and that's okay because their inventory is pretty stable. You know, a $10,000 inventory change on $650,000 in profit, that's not a big deal. You know, once again, this is for companies that are growing at 20-25% because their inventory might be up 20-25%. What principal do we have to pay on debt? Okay, that's got to come out of the profit. And then, hey, what is kind of investor return is needed or wanted by the ownership? And then really strongly recommend making sure they build up some cash, right? The one business pundit, I forget his name, but you know, he says 3 to 6 months of cash reserves is always good to have. A lot of times we'll be working with companies that aren't that sophisticated. I worked with a meat slaughterhouse in eastern Pennsylvania in a town of 1,200 people, and they just had a 2.5% profit at the end of the year and gave half to the employees without thinking about taxes or savings or paying down debt or anything. All right, so then when you finish all these calculations, it comes up to the financial security threshold being $600,000. Any questions in here?
Yes. So change in AR, change in payables. So, because I've got the situation you're talking about where I got a company growing. I mean, for example, their AR last year this time was $3.5 million. Today, I just got off the phone with them. It's $5.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So do I put in a plus $2 million here, or do I put in a negative $2.5 million here?
Pretty sure it's negative. I haven't worked with this a ton where I had to put that in, but I'm pretty sure you just follow the, if it's in parentheses here, put it in parentheses.
Well, but also, I mean, it could have been reversed. I mean, you know, they could be doing real well. I could have had a $1.5 million AR today, and so I'd still have the $2 million number, and now I got a reduction in AR versus an add to AR. I'm wondering how.
Then I would suggest putting it in a positive.
Yeah, because if, I mean, I've got yours up right here, so let me just make that a positive $10,000. Yeah, if I put in a positive $10,000, the financial security threshold jumps to 580 or goes to 580,000. So I'm just thinking this through from a cash flow standpoint. Growth in AR is not growth in cash, right?
No, it's sucking cash. So it's definitely negative.
So a growth in AR, we're going to enter in as negative. A reduction in AR will enter in as positive.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
What else?
Hey, Kevin, I have a question for you. The half that goes to the employees, the half that goes to the company in the gain share, won't that also be adding to the company's savings, or not always?
Yes, but here we're looking at what do we need before we share $1.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, like, you do have to take into account when you're coming up with a savings number that you will also be taking in some savings or adding to your savings from half of the bonus share.
If we make bonus, yeah.
Oh, if we make bonus.
You don't count on that. This is the bare minimums needed.
Got it.